shadow frequency, where the veil between this world and the next grows thin. The things that whisper in the dark are given voice. From the cryptic candlelit studios, deep in the Indiana forests, your host, Matt Wilson, and his spectral producer, Juniper Ravenwood, unearth the forbidden, the forgotten, and the fearsome. So, still your heart, dim the light, and listen closely. For once you tune into the shadow frequency, you may never tune out.
All right, what do we got tonight, Juniper?
I already dug this one out earlier and laid it back on top.
Oh, so this one didn't even make it all the way into the drawer?
Nope. Felt like the kind of file that didn't want to stay buried.
Yeah.
Episode 315, the Portage County UFO case.
Now, that is a title right there, because once you put Portage County and UFO in the same sentence, you already know we're not talking about a quiet little police report.
Not even close. This one starts with 2 Ohio deputies on what should have been a routine night.
Yep.
Just another call. Another lonely road. Another strange vehicle sitting where it shouldn't be.
And then the night turns into something else.
Way into something else. Because instead of finding a drunk driver, a stranded motorist, or a simple explanation, they end up staring at a glowing structured object in the sky. And before long, they're chasing it.
And not for a minute or two either.
No, this thing pulls them into a high-speed pursuit that stretches for miles across the dark.
Yeah.
Police cars, state lines, radio calls, witnesses, and one object that never seems to behave the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, that's what gets me about this case. It's not just strange light somebody spotted from a porch swing or through a bedroom window.
Right.
This is law enforcement in motion, trying to keep up with something they cannot explain.
And the deeper you go, the weirder it gets.
For sure.
Because then you get into the testimony, the official reactions, the attempts to explain it away, and that's where this file really starts to feel haunted.
So tonight we're heading back to April of 1966 to rural Ohio, where 2 deputies found themselves in one of the strangest UFO pursuits ever put on record.
A chase through the dark, with headlights behind it, and something impossible waiting up ahead.
This is episode 315, the Portage County UFO case.
You are tuned to the shadow frequency, where every whisper tells a story from beyond the veil. Hosted by Matt Wilson. Produced by Juniper Ravenwood. With Chris Beach. The darkness continues.
April 17, 1966. Pre-dawn, rural northeast Ohio. 2 lawmen step out beside an abandoned car, hear a low humming sound in the dark, and within minutes they are caught in one of the strangest police pursuits in UFO history. A glowing object, a 2-state chase, radio traffic lighting up the morning, and a story the Air Force would never quite put to bed. So what do you guys think? Because to me, this one has that perfect shadow frequency flavor. It starts with something ordinary, just a roadside check, and then suddenly the whole sky feels wrong.
Yeah, that's a great setup, because this one really does go from routine patrol to full-on impossible in a hurry.
I'll say this much. If 2 coppers wind up chasing something for 80-odd miles before breakfast,
Yep.
That's not exactly a quiet night out, is it?
Exactly. And the creepiest part is that this wasn't just one blurry witness looking up from a porch. We're talking deputies, another officer joining in, a police chief in Mantua seeing it too, and even a photograph entering the story almost immediately.
Yeah, and once you get into the details, it stops sounding like some little passing light, starts sounding like something that was moving with intent.
And that is where we're going tonight. So Matt, open the file.
Well, first off, thank you to Juniper for digging into the file cabinet, pulling out one of those cases that starts as a roadside check and then just refuses to behave like reality. Before sunrise on April 17, 1966, Deputy Dale Spar and Auxiliary Deputy Wilbur Barney Neff were on routine patrol in Portage County, Ohio. Multiple later reconstructions agree they had already been dealing with ordinary police work that morning, including a report of a bright-colored object moving eastward when they came upon an abandoned car along Route 224 near the Ravenna area. That abandoned car detail is where this one gets its claws in me. The cruiser is left running, the headlights are on, and the morning is dead quiet in that eerie pre-dawn way. In one detailed reconstruction, the vehicle is a white 1959 Ford, and Spar is checking the roadside woods when he notices a light coming in from the west. It starts small and then grows quickly. And according to the officer's account, as preserved in later case material, this was not some tiny star-like point high overhead. The object came in low, hovered, and lit the ground around them and their cruiser. The deputy said it was only a few dozen feet up, made a faint humming sound, and drifted over the road and directly above them. Spar later described it publicly as roughly 40 feet wide and 18 feet high, with a bright underside and motion that looked controlled. That is where the file turns from weird to unforgettable, because both men dive back into the cruiser and the object moves off down the road and stops again, almost like it wants them moving. Spar later said, "We were close, closer than I ever want to be again," and he described the first sound as a steady faint hum, like an electrical transformer in the dark. Now, I've got an item in the folder right here, a reproduced Cleveland Plain Dealer clipping from April 18, 1966, and this is the kind of paper that makes a legend feel immediate. The article says, 2 Portage County deputies chased a brilliant and shiny object 86 miles from near Ravenna to the outskirts of Pittsburgh. It also says Mantua Police Chief Gerald Butchert saw the object independently and photographed it near his home. Now that matters because now this is no longer just one patrol car and one terrifying roadside moment. It is a chase, a second law enforcement witness, and a photograph entering the story almost instantly. And Spar did not describe some vague glow. In that same reporting, he said the object could maneuver, that it seemed under control, and that it was so bright its lines stayed distinct even as the sky began to lighten. He said he clocked the pursuit at up to 103 miles per hour. That is why this case has always felt different. It's not just a light in the sky file. It is a police pursuit file. As the run continued, the story expanded. Wayne Houston of East Palestine joined in near the Pennsylvania line. Frank Panzanella in Conway becomes part of the ending. Other officers heard the radio traffic. Civilians were looking up, and some retellings say jets were seen moving toward the object while the pursuit was still live. The exact sequence gets fuzzy depending on the source, but the backbone stays the same. This did not end after one glance. It rolled east across jurisdictions. And then there is Chief Gerald Butchert, which is the detail that gives the whole thing an extra chill. He reportedly heard the radio traffic, went home to grab his camera, and saw an object later described as resembling 2 saucers joined together. Contemporary reporting says Butchert told the Plain Dealer it looked round overhead but saucer-like when it shifted to the side, like 2 table saucers put together. Even people who question the chase still have to deal with that separate sighting and the fact that a police chief said he photographed the same kind of object moving east. By the time the chase wound down near Conway, the object was said to hover, then climb, then vanish. The cruiser was nearly out of gas. Radios had been alive with it. And just like that, a routine pre-dawn patrol had turned into one of the strangest law enforcement UFO cases on record. What gets me is how fast the event grew. From 2 men checking a deserted car to multiple officers across 2 states staring into a brightening sky, trying to decide whether they had just been led somewhere by something that should not have been there at all. And that's the part I can't shake. It doesn't just appear, it almost behaves.
Yeah, like it wanted witnesses.
That's the bit I don't like. A strange light is one thing. A strange light that seems aware of you is another matter entirely.
And in the second half, that's where the case gets even stranger, because then the official explanation shows up, and somehow the story gets less clear, not more. Juniper, take it away.
So far tonight, we've got a glowing object over Route 224, deputies chasing it across state lines, and a police chief with a camera saying he saw it. You've got to wonder what you'd do if that radio call came across your dash before dawn. Do you floor it? Do you stop? Do you even trust your own eyes? Chris, what are you making of it?
Thanks, June. I'm not going to lie, this one's got under my skin a bit. A couple of officers seeing something odd is one thing, but once you've got multiple witnesses and a proper chase on your hands, it gets very hard to shrug off.
Yep.
And while you're thinking it over, do us a favour, hit like and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on, because it really does help the algorithms find the show. You can follow the Shadow Frequency on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Rumble, and all the major podcast directories. Head over to shadowfrequencypodcast.com for every episode, the companion blog, merch, show notes, and links to all the platforms. You can also support the show by buying us a coffee on the website, and if you've got a strange story of your own, send us an email or a voice message there. It might end up on a future episode. All right, back to Juniper.
Time to fire up the spectral cosmic message materializer. Flipping the switches now. Let's hear those coils groan a little. Ah, there it is. Something small and handwritten just drifted out of the static like a note from the far side of midnight. Let's unfold this strange little signal and see what our listeners sent through. This one comes from Barney in Halifax. Hey, Matt, Juniper, and Chris. I usually listen late at night after work, either sitting in my car overlooking the harbor for a few minutes before heading home, or once I'm inside with the lights low and a cup of tea going. I stream the show on Spotify, and the episodes I always seem to gravitate toward are the UFO chase stories, government cover-up cases, and anything with haunted roads or lonely back highways. There's just something about those kinds of stories when it's dark outside and the city's gone quiet. Love the show and the atmosphere you all build every week. Keep the signal alive. Barney, Halifax. I like that one a lot. Harbor lights, late night, UFO chases. That feels very on brand for tonight. And as always, if you want to send us your own story, note, or weird little dispatch from the darkness, you can email us at shadowpodcast@protonmail.com. Matt, back over to you.
You are tuned to the Shadow Frequency, where every whisper tells a story from beyond the veil. The darkness continues.
Thanks, Juniper and Barney in Halifax. That was fantastic. The deeper you go into Portage County, the more the case stops being just a sighting and starts becoming a fight over who gets to define reality. I've got another item I pulled out of the folder here, a typed reproduction of the May 10th, 1966 interview material tied to Major Hector Quintanilla and Project Blue Book, and this is where the story changes shape. Later reporting built from those interviews say that Quintanilla denied that anything unusual showed on radar, denied that Air Force jets had been dispatched, and finally placed what SPAR saw under satellite and atmospheric observations. In the same exchange, when asked what the Air Force thought these things were, Quintanilla answered, misinterpretation of conventional objects and natural phenomena. Now put that beside what officers and Chief Butchert were actually saying. Contemporary press reports had SPAR describing a structured object about 40 feet across and 18 feet high, bright enough to stand out as dawn approached, with a faint hum at the beginning and motion that felt controlled. Butchert separately described something that looked like two saucers put together and said he photographed it. The plane dealer also reported that the Federal Aviation Agency centers in Oberlin and Pittsburgh saw no unknown objects on radar, which becomes one of the great fractures in the case. Vivid low-level visual testimony on one side, a blank official sky on the other. And this is where I'll give the one rational note this case always forces onto the table. If you isolate only parts of the event, a bright object low on the horizon, officers under stress, dawn light changing distance and angle, ordinary aircraft entering the scene, you can understand why investigators reached for Venus, atmospheric distortion, and stacked misidentification. That explanation does exist in the record, and in fairness, any case involving a long pursuit and changing positions is going to test perception. But here's the problem. Even Hynek's side pushed back. In one of the biggest cracks in the official explanation, William Powers, Hynek's assistant, wrote to Spar and Neff that he could not agree with the public Venus conclusion, that what they reported could not possibly lead to it, and that Hynek agreed and had not been consulted before the release went out. That means the clean public answer was not even clean inside the system that produced it. The handling of Butchert's photo only deepened that unease. Later reporting says that Quintanilla told him the film was severely fogged and the fuzzy image was just a processing defect. Butchert pushed back in writing on April 22nd, saying that if it had only been Venus, then how had it moved below and above fixed telephone wires while the wires themselves did not move? He was told it was atmospheric conditions. That is one of the bleakest moments in the file. And the timing matters. This happened only weeks after the Michigan flap and the swamp gas controversy that had already damaged public trust in Air Force UFO explanations. The National Archives notes that Gerald Ford called for investigation into the rash of 1966 sightings and specifically described Hynek's swamp gas explanation as flippant, while Bentley's history of the Michigan flap shows how badly that explanation landed with the public in March 1966. So when Portage County exploded in April, it landed in a country already primed to doubt easy answers. And then comes the part that makes the case linger after the object is gone, what it did to the people tied to it. Neff's wife later said he came back white as a sheet and almost in shock. Wayne Houston took heat for joining the pursuit. Butchert nearly resigned. Dale Spar seems to have taken the worst of it. Later accounts say he lost weight, his marriage collapsed, he left the department, and in one interview he said, "I have become a freak. To everyone, I'm Dale Spar, the nut who chased a flying saucer." Whether every hardship in his life came from that morning is impossible to prove, but the ridicule was real. That is why this file still breathes. Maybe the simplest answer is that several men, in pieces, misread a planet, dawn light, aircraft, and motion. That is possible, but it still leaves stubborn things on the table. The low-structured descriptions, the humming, the illumination of the ground, Butchert's separate sighting and photo, and the fact that even Hynek's camp did not line up neatly behind the public answer. The mystery survives because the official explanation never fully swallowed the witness experience. So what was moving over northeast Ohio that morning? A chain of ordinary things stitched together by speed and fear? Or a genuinely unknown object that drifted just low enough and just long enough to leave a scar across police radios, newspaper clippings, and people's lives? I don't know. But I do know this. If all they chased was Venus, then Venus had a hum, lit the road beneath it, waited on the tree line, and led armed officers across state lines like it wanted to be seen, and that is where the real unease begins. Whatever it was, it left more than a sighting behind. It left damage.
And that's the part that stays with you, isn't it? Not just the object. The cost of being the bloke who says he saw it.
And once the official answer starts wobbling, the whole case gets even colder.
Exactly. The chase ended near dawn. The haunting part never really did. Juniper, close us out.
Tonight, we followed one of the strangest police files in UFO history. From an abandoned car on a dark Ohio road to a glowing object over 2 states, a disputed photograph, a shaky official explanation, and the long shadow it left over the people who were there. Thanks for spending part of your night with us here on the Shadow Frequency. And don't forget, you can reach us at shadowpodcast@protonmail.com. Visit shadowfrequencypodcast.com for episodes, blog posts, merch, show notes, and more. And follow along on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Rumble. We'll be back soon with another strange case from somewhere out there in the dark. You guys want to say goodnight?
Thanks for listening, everybody. Keep looking up carefully.
Good night, all. And if something starts pacing your car on a back road, maybe don't be the first one to floor it.
Good night, friends. Stay curious, stay eerie, and keep listening for the hum in the dark.
This episode was conjured with a solemn vow to explore the unexplained while remaining bound to the truths that have been unearthed. All interpretations are speculative and offered only for your enlightenment and your entertainment.